An eerie village, buildings plucked from time, and a demonic force await the Most Haunted team as we travel to Sussex.
And this week we begin an investigation like no other, with over 40 buildings on 50 acres, all with ghosts and many stories to tell. Welcome to Most Haunted and to the Weald and Downland Museum.
The Weald and Downland Open Air Museum came to fruition in 1967, started by the founder, Dr. J.R. Armstrong, MBE, and a group of people keen on rescuing old, crumbling buildings from the southeast of England. There are almost 50 buildings here dating from between the 13th and 19th centuries, set in over 50 acres of countryside, and all have been dismantled from their original locations and rebuilt. The buildings are said to be home to strange paranormal phenomena, with mysterious footsteps heard, the feeling of oppression, and furniture is said to move of its own accord. With such a vast area to cover, we have decided that Weald and Downland warrants 2 nights of investigation. Tonight we will focus on the buildings at the heart of this eerie village.
Large dark figures have been witnessed all around this building, which used to be a medieval shop. It's now situated at the end of a street. This street that contains many buildings, all with stories of death, poltergeists and ghosts. This is North Cray House, supposedly haunted by a former resident, tall, scary and unwelcoming, and is said to strike fear into anyone who enters. Some believe that Walderton House holds onto the spirits from where it originally stood. Staff and visitors alike have noted a feeling of a sad atmosphere inside the house. It's believed that a violent former resident is still trapped within the fabric of the building and doesn't like people entering when darkness falls. With such an area to cover, what will we achieve tonight? We have 24 hours to find out.
Weald and Downland appears to contain many spirits within its displaced buildings. I'm eager to hear more about them from Most Haunted's resident historian Leslie Smith.
Here, over nearly 50 acres, there are a huge number of properties, vernacular buildings that have been rescued from in situations such as motorways going through an area. The house has been taken to pieces and brought here. Visitors and guides who work here have said over the years that they have seen some extraordinary sights and heard extraordinary things. A woman particularly is seen on a very regular basis, moving from one building to another with a long gown, but of course with so many centuries represented here, we can't pin exactly what time she comes from.
Being familiar with stone tape theory from previous investigations, I'm curious to hear if parapsychologist Dr. Kieran O'Keefe feels this idea may have any bearing on our investigation tonight.
Kieran, this is a very unusual investigation because the sheer expanse of this place. I think, you know, the fact that we're going to do 2 nights here is very exciting. But also, how do you feel about the fact that there's lots of different buildings that have been taken from different places, all in one place, have all come together?
I'm very excited about it. In a way, it's a little bit of a Most Haunted first when you think about it. All the locations we visited, they've been there for however many hundreds of years. But you're right, we've got phenomena associated with each particular building from where it originated, almost as though the energy has moved with the buildings, and I find that absolutely fascinating.
And of course we've got to look at the stone tape theory. We've discussed this time and time again, but this is classic because brick by brick these houses have been moved, so with those particular bricks come stories of are they tape recordings of people that have lived in these houses?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. When I was first reading up about it, part of me was thinking, yeah, this is a classic example of stone tape theory because, for example, in one of the locations there was, I think, an argument associated with that particular building where it was originally, and people associate the activity with that argument. Whereas some of the other buildings, they say that the energy and the atmosphere and the phenomena comes from the original location, but you've got innocuous things like an oppressive atmosphere, or somebody even reporting that there's a demon of some kind that causes hallucinations, that sort of thing. So you've got some examples of stone tape theory, but I would argue that the other ones don't really support the stone tape theory idea, because remember, stone tape is all about replay. It's almost like a video playback, whereas some of the phenomena is not a playback, it's just a feeling, if you will. So I find that different. The
location that has the oppressive atmosphere, sort of this demonic feel to it, definitely going to stick Kath in there on her own.
On her own. I think that's a brilliant idea. Oh, great experiment.
I know, you're an evil man. It was your idea, not mine.
All right, okay. Blame it on me.
A vast location, centuries of history and mysterious reports of strange apparitions. Weald Downland has much to offer, but would we meet any of its ghostly residents tonight?
Chris is saying this is not human, this is demonic. I'm not impressed.
You should have been upstairs.
If you are a demonic, if you...
Welcome back to Most Haunted. You rejoin us in an investigation into the Weald Downland Open Air Museum, a vast collection of relocated historical buildings from across the southeast of England. I'm hoping that medium Chris Conway can focus his energies and connect with the spirits that are said to be contained within their walls. We start our lit walk-around in Walderton House, a Tudor building said to be home to phantoms from its former location.
As we're walking into the house, I'm picking up the energy of an old lady.
Yeah.
And she was standing as if the seat wasn't there.
Can you describe what she looks like, or is it just a feeling? Or
just now. She's probably slightly smaller than you, up to your shoulders. Hair tied back, tied into it's like a bun. It's tied right back, and she's wearing it. Apron's the wrong word, but it's like some sort of petticoat sort of thing down right over.
Right.
And as I say, as we walked in, she's standing there, very welcoming spirit, very welcoming lady. I can give you a name that I'm getting